So the Galaxy S9 is announced. Should you get it? Or save some money and go for the S8? Here's the full comparison coming up. What's up guys, and welcome again. Now if you want to know the price, check out my previous video, which I'm telling you is pretty surprising, because no one expected that the S9 comes even cheaper than the S8 at launch. But for now, let's dive directly into the comparison between the S9 and the S8. So let's start with the design and dimensions. Let you from the numbers. You just have to know that the S9 is a tiny bit thicker and heavier than the S8. And the same goes for the Plus versus the Plus. But you're not gonna really notice this in real life. What you are really going to notice is that the fingerprint scanner has been moved from besides the camera to underneath it, which makes it more comfortable for your finger to reach for and less likely to be smudged. And last thing in terms of design is that the bottom bezel of the S9 is just slightly thinner than that of the S8. Now in terms of the display, nothing is changed at all. The same screen that was on the Galaxy S8 is now with the S9, so if you expected something fancy like a 4K display, sorry, it's not gonna happen this time. But the major improvement with the Galaxy S9 is the camera. And this is where I need you to focus with me a bit. Now, the wider the aperture, the more light entering the lens. And actually when you say f1.7, then this is wider than the f1.8 for example. So the smaller the f number, the wider the aperture. You might think, oh, then let's make it very wide to capture as much light as possible, to take great pictures in low light, right? I'll tell you, yes. But then you will face another problem when the sun shines, when it's bright outside. The pictures you take with the wide aperture like the f1.7 for example, are going to look a bit soft. So not as sharp as pictures taken with f1.8 aperture like the one with the iPhone X for example. So the manufacturers had to always choose between a super wide aperture to take better low light shots and sacrifice some of the sharpness when you take pictures in the daylight, or go with something like the f1.8 to take crisp and clear images in the daylight and sacrifice some of that low light shooting quality. So this was the case until the S9 came with its revolutionary camera, because it has a variable aperture. Now what does that mean? Well, it means that the camera will function like the pupil of the human eye, so it will automatically detect the amount of light around you, and then it will decide if it should go for the f1.5 to take amazing low light shots. And by the way, the f1.5 is the widest aperture ever on a smartphone camera, so I can guarantee you that this S9 will take the best low light shots ever. So it can choose between the f1.5 or go for the f2.4 aperture to take crisp and clear images without the soft texture you get when you take pictures with a wide aperture in normal light. Another new thing here is that if you go for the Galaxy S9 Plus, you will get another camera with a telephoto lens to get that appreciated optical zoom. In addition to that, on both 9s, you get the super slow motion video recording, 960 FPS, which is crazy. It turns a 0.2 second clip into a 6-second clip. It looks amazing. You also get the new AR emoji, which is a more personalized emoji. It sometimes looks creepy, but hopefully it will get more polished in the future. It allows you to make custom emojis with your own face as the cartoon and send them through your social media platforms. Cool. Now in terms of the processor, the Galaxy S9 is about 30% faster than the S8, at least on paper. You can wait until the reviews and speed tests show up to give you a better idea about the real-life experience. In terms of the storage, you can now use a 400GB SD card with the S9. And if you go for the Plus model, you will get 6 gigs of RAM, which comes in handy when you work with many applications, like we saw with the Galaxy Note 8, which also had 6 gigs of RAM. But if you don't care about keeping your apps as they are until the following morning, then 4 gigs of RAM are probably enough for you. Moving on to biometrics. There is not much of a difference, but if you go for the S9 instead of the S8, you will get a more secure face unlock, which they call intelligent scan. It's the combination of face unlock and iris scanning. Now in terms of the audio, you will for the first time in a Samsung smartphone get stereo speakers. Finally Samsung, finally! They are tuned by AKG, one of them is on the bottom and the other in the earpiece with Dolby Atmos technology. The batteries are still the same size, but the new processors should be more power efficient. We'll see about that. So if you don't care about the better low light shots and the crisper images in normal light, or the super slow motion, or the 3D stickers, or the stereo speakers, or the improved general performance, then it's better to save yourself the price difference, which will grow bigger once the S9 hits the markets, and go for the Galaxy S8. And wait for the Galaxy S10, which will be the true beast of the beasts. And subscribe to my channel to be up to date with the latest tech news. So that's it guys for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.